It was quite a year in Virginia, and I think that any time that Jon Stewart doesn't have to write his own material, because the General Assembly of Virginia is writing it for him, that's not what we would call good for Virginia's image. It's not really Bob's for jobs, is it? It has really been quite a year. I would say that several years ago, I began saying to people, they're coming after contraception. And my consultants, to a person, would say, you can't say that. People will think you're nuts. Well, now they don't think I'm nuts. Because this year we saw a really wholesale assault, not just on abortion, an issue on which I'm willing to concede there are deeply held religious beliefs. But you know, we settled contraception in the Griswold case 50 years ago. And some studies that I've seen say that well over 90% of Roman Catholic women have used contraception at some point in their life. That we thought was kind of a settled law, but no. So we have, before we get to Virginia and all of the wonderfulness in Virginia, there's a wonderful national perspective, and I think Marge is going to share some of that and what's been going on the national level.
The War on Women was something that was coined during George W. Bush's term, and we started talking about it again when the Republicans took over the House of Representatives. And what they did was they focused on eliminating coverage for abortion under the Affordable Care Act. And also, if you all remember last Christmas, the astonishing effort to basically defund Planned Parenthood, but not only that, to defund all Title X. Title X is the nation's family planning program. It provides family planning support funding to clinics that are used by any number of people. But for some reason, there's really Planned Parenthood got a lot of publicity about it. They really wanted to do much more than that. They wanted to gut the nation's family planning program, which is so counterproductive. It's just really hard to imagine. And then there were also other things that they did last year, tried to close clinics, enshrining fetal rights, and these things sort of keep on coming up at the national level. But what I want to talk about is not just that. I think a lot of us are very well aware of these assaults on women's reproductive rights, but what is behind this and what it means in a broader sense. The individuals and groups that fund the anti-abortion and now anti-contraception bills are pretty much the same individuals and groups that fund other right-wing causes and politicians. Therefore, wherever you stand on the issue of reproductive health, whether you care about it or don't care about it, I think it's wise to care about who is doing this, because they very well may be doing something on some other issue that you feel very strongly about. Groups Focus on Family, Family Research Council, Concerned Women for America, and lots of other groups that don't just simply deal with, women's gynecological issues. They deal with a lot of issues. They're the folks who defeated the ERA. I'm happy to say it seems to be coming back again. They fought against emergency contraception. They're trying to clamp down right now on funding for the Violence Against Women Act, which is very serious. They support crisis pregnancy centers. They're against equal marriage, against equal pay. They deny that there is such thing as discrimination against women. They're for school vouchers. They're for teaching creationism. They're enthusiastic about any number of things that go beyond reproductive rights. And they're often motivated by what they see as biblical principles. Basically, they're biblical principles, the way they read the Bible. They're their religious beliefs. And you saw that, you're seeing that right now with all the controversy about covering contraception under the Affordable Care Act, and the Catholic bishops and other of their allies are saying, no, this would violate our religious freedom. And missing the point that we all have religious freedom in this country. And not only the Catholic bishops have religious freedom, we all have a conscience and we all have our own beliefs. So one of the main thrusts of all this is to claim, well, religion says this and religion says that. Pretty much ignoring my religion, your religion, the religion of people who disagree. And there's a theme here that I think is very important, which is religion is often being used to oppress women still and suppress women's rights. A lot of the things that are done against reproductive rights are done in the name of religion. And perhaps you remember Pat Robertson blaming 9/11 on the feminists and other radicals. Governor McDonald blaming women who work outside the home for decline of family values. Rick Santorum. There are connections here of women's rights, reproductive rights, and much broader issues that have to do with a worldview that is said to be representative of us all, but really isn't. Just to link for a minute the broader issue here, women's rights. We hold very, very small percentages of elected office, 16% Congress, 22% statewide elected, etc. Internationally, we rank 71st in terms of women's representation. It could be the reason why so many American women still struggle to patch together child care for their children, and why the United States is the only Western country that doesn't mandate family leave, is that we have fewer elected women. And this all really relates to what we call the war on women, the war against women. Finally, I just want to say Hillary Clinton said something wonderful recently to a conference of international conference of women. She asked rhetorically, why is it they always go after women? Rhetorically. And she said, whether it's women's dress, as in certain countries where women are supposed to be robed, women working outside the home, women being educated, or here in the U.S., women's reproductive rights. They are connected, and the war on women is deeper and broader than abortion and contraception, but those are just the issues that are used to mobilize people. And with that, thank you very much for listening.
The 2012 legislative session was something, it wasn't the most desirable situation, and I'm sure you already covered some of the bill.
Oh, we didn't actually cover the bills.
All right.
We were on the punchline for John.
So we were. So I'll start back a little bit. In November and October of last year, I started to recognize, the war that we were coming up against, from the personhood bill to bills, basically cutting off the safety net for poor women so that they can have some assistance if they need to terminate a pregnancy because the fetus basically is non-viable due to an abnormality, to the point where we then have this mandatory ultrasound bill. And the mandatory ultrasound bill was different this year than any other year. Other years it just said that a doctor is required to offer. This year, it was so specific on what had to be determined in the ultrasound. And